Well, I am so
Yeah.
excited. It is Shannon Ella on Pure Country. I've got Tony Stevens joining me, our iHeartRadio future star. How are you?
I'm doing very good, Shannon. How about yourself?
I'm good. It's so nice to meet you. And I feel like it's been a bit of a wild ride for you in 2024. Let's talk about first things first. Whiskey in Colorado, iHeartRadio future star, knowing that your song is just on blast across the entire country.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. I mean, I'm getting DMs and texts from people like all the way to the East Coast, yeah, Calgary, Winnipeg, everywhere. It's just like it's crazy. It's a
So
cool
awesome.
feeling.
And
Yeah.
are you glad? Because I mean, I know music has been a part of your life for a long time. We'll get to kind of your journey in a second, but are
Yeah.
you glad that it was this song that got to be the one to kind of introduce you to everyone?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, when I've been writing songs for a long time, and I got to write this song with some friends, Dan, Dave, and Wes. And when we got the demo back, immediately I was like, wow, this song kind of stood out to me as far as like stylistically what I really liked to listen to and what I like to as far as um, getting a message across, having a little bit more of a meaning to a song. That's for me, especially as a songwriter. If I'm going to sing a song, a 3 minute song, and I have to drive 3 hours or fly across the country to sing it, it's got to mean something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm
Have
super
you,
excited that this is the song that is, introducing me to a lot of people across the country.
for sure. Now, have you been to Colorado and drank whiskey there?
That's a good question. Uh, I haven't drank whiskey in Colorado. No, I
Come
haven't.
on.
Unfortunately, I know. Well, we're gonna have to go there and do that specifically for this reason. But
Yes.
the songwriters I was with have been, and it was the sentiment of the song and just being away from the
Yeah.
family or the people that you love, the places that you love, but following the dream, which I'm sure you understand that side of things as well. So
Oh, for sure. Well, I
yeah.
think to celebrate when this song, hits where it hits on the radio, I think you've got to take a trip to Colorado and drink some whiskey.
Oh, we've already talked about that.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
sure.
I love that.
That's a
Okay, so
plan.
let's go back to kind of the beginning for you in music. And I know, like I said, it's been a part of your life for a long time, but it didn't start out in more of the commercial side of things. So you actually started singing in church?
Yeah, I was part of the church song team. I actually just played guitar at first.
Okay.
My sister was one of the singers at the church that we grew up in, and yeah, I joined the team, and then from there, I would always sing all the time. And a friend of mine's brother had a band, and they were looking for a lead singer. And she was like, "Oh, you should go try out for the band." And it was kind of like, "Okay, let's try it." And then
Yeah.
from there, I was in a band for a few years. So, but yeah, definitely church was the very beginning of my walk into playing music and singing and doing it in front of people, at
Right.
least.
Which is a good introduction. I feel like there's a lot of people, obviously, in country music where a lot of their starts was in church, which is really
Mhm.
such a special place, I think. And you said
Totally.
your sister is musical as well. Do you come from a musical family?
Yeah, well, I mean, my first exposure to like live singing was my grandma in her church choir.
Okay.
And I was always, as a kid back then, I was always so like, wow, she can get up and sing in front of all these people. And she had like a super unique voice. It was very like operatic, so you could like pinpoint her out of like the whole choir. And I just remember being a kid and kind of looking up to her and being like, wow, that's
Pretty
pretty
cool.
brave.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, it's cool
So,
that you can look back, and I'm sure your family is so proud having seen where you started out to getting to get in their car today and turn on the radio and like, oh, look who it is.
yeah, it's pretty crazy.
It's so surreal. So inspirations, like you talk about your grandmother seeing her up on stage, but now that maybe when you first started deciding, okay, music is the direction I want to go, Was there a
Mhm.
concert that you went to and you saw an artist on stage and just kind of thought like, yes, that right there is what I want to be doing?
I remember a specific moment, and it was actually a Dierks Bentley concert over here in Vancouver. Um, and Eric Church was actually opening for Dierks Bentley.
No way.
So a while ago, and I remember just watching it and be like, man, that how amazing is that? Like Dierks Bentley's up there singing, and the whole crowd is singing back to him. I think that was one of my favorite times as far as influence in country music was, Dierks Bentley and the Sinners Like Me album by Eric Church,
My
and
favorite.
seeing them up there on the stage live, it just was like, man, I really want to do this, and this is something that I feel like I should pursue.
Awesome. That's, yeah, I mean, Sinners Like Me album, still one of
Oh,
my favorite albums of all time, I
yeah,
think. Yeah,
yeah, definitely.
it's so good. So you sign your record deal, Bobby Wills. I love him and have worked with him for a very long time. You couldn't have picked a better guy to be working with as far as someone who just has such a good head on his shoulders and such good values. What
Yeah.
has it been like working with someone who knows exactly what it's like to be in your position?
That was a huge part of, one of the main reasons why I connected so well with Bobby is because he was pretty much in the exact same situation as I am when his career started to move forward. So having and knowing that he has that understanding and that point of view,
Yeah,
and just his experience and knowledge and his reputation in the industry, like I've never heard a bad word about Bobby
no,
from anybody. And I can
never will.
attest, like I've known him for a few years now, and he's an incredible dude. And not to mention, back when I was a tradesman, driving through traffic, you'd come on the local radio station, Won't You Be Mine, Crazy Enough, like all those songs I listened to and absolutely enjoyed when he was, doing his thing. So it was pretty cool to meet him, and just to see that he's a down to earth, passionate guy, and he's about the music, which is to me the most important thing.
Yeah, for sure. And what was it? So, music, you start out, it's a part of your life. And I think
Yeah,
a lot of people don't even realize when they end up working in music or being an artist or a writer, when they're listening to music when they're younger, how much of an impact it's actually having in that moment. And then you get
yeah.
older, you look back and you're like, oh, wow, it really has been a part of my life for a long time. But what was it? Was there a moment for you that made you shift and go, okay, this is now my path?
Yeah, so the band I was telling you about earlier, I was in it for a couple years, and kind of got to a fork in the road where I had to choose between starting a family and following that path, or continuing down the garage band rock and roll path, and which I loved. But I made the right decision, and and started a family with my wife, and from there, focused on that for quite a few years. And basically, I had a bit of a run-in with mortality, so to speak. Had a head injury, and I was hospitalized for about a week. And aftermath of that was I was basically on bed rest for a few months, and it gave me a lot of time to think about, what's important to me. And after that, had a discussion with my wife, and was just like, listen, I don't care where this goes. Like, I just need to do something with music, because I'd always been playing and writing songs in my spare time, and that was a hobby or a passion of mine my whole this whole time. And basically, we made the decisions like, yeah, if you're gonna do it, let's just do it, and let's see where it leads. So I started hitting up the local open mics, and now I'm here talking with you a number of years later. So it's pretty wild
Well,
what happened. So
I'm so sorry that happened to you, but um, my family went through something similar with my son last year,
yes,
and it is crazy what a shift something like that can make in your life, and it's something so difficult that leads you to something so beautiful. And
Mhm.
we actually found, we were talking about this the other day, that music was, again, unknowingly, it was such a part of our healing through that time that we just found ourselves putting music on that made us feel better. What were
Yeah.
you listening to during that time that you maybe
Well,
now don't even realize it was making an impact?
that's a really good question because I had a head injury and I couldn't really
Right.
have music on that loud and I like to listen to music like
Really
cranked to
loud.
12.
Yeah.
But at that time, I was listening to it would have been like I did listen to some like some praise and worship music. It was definitely comforting in those times. I was listening to Eric Church at that time as well, like big time.
Mhm.
Um, and some of the old stuff that I used to listen to is like Foo Fighters and Nirvana, but just like on like
Yeah, not on the Nirvana.
a low level, right? Watched a lot of hockey.
Hey, who's your
And
team?
who's my team? Vancouver
Yeah.
Canucks.
Okay. I figured.
Don't hold it against me.
No, no, no. I was just with Dallas Smith the other day. We were talking about his love
Oh,
of the Canucks. So I say congratulations and my condolences all at the
yes,
same time.
yes. Yeah, who's your team?
I am a Leafs girl, and
Well,
condolences always. I get.
the feeling's mutual, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you guys did better this year, but yeah, I was born and
Yeah.
raised in a hardcore Maple Leafs household, so it's stuck
Hey,
with me.
my buddy and producer Dan is the same way, so
Oh yeah.
I get that all.
Yeah,
I
for
understand
sure.
it.
Definitely. Well, I can't wait to get to meet you in person, and I can't wait to
Mm,
get to hear you play these songs that we've been listening to on Pure Country live. We're so excited that you are a part of our iHeartRadio Future Star family now. So thank you so much, Tony Stevens, for joining us on Pure Country.
thank you. I really appreciate it, Shannon.